state tournament, state championships. Thank you everybody for joining us. I know this is a late hockey game to get started on a Thursday night. So school night, work night for everybody. So thank you everybody who's tuning in with us. I appreciate everybody watching some late night hockey during the week. This is our first game against the North Pittsburgh Wildcats. We'll be playing tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. against the Erie Junior Otters, and then Saturday at 11 a.m. against South Pittsburgh Rebellion. And then the championship game will be on Sunday. So the Mustangs are going through warm-ups. We're in our white jerseys. The North Pittsburgh Wildcats will be in their black and teal jerseys. So we still have 5 minutes left in this warm-up. I didn't realize that we're going to have 5-minute warm-ups. Not sure if I'll have that much stuff to say during 5 minutes. It has been a little bit of time since I've been doing the live stream. So I thank Chad for filling in for me when I couldn't be there. So I do apologize if I sound a little rusty. And Chad's by my side to do the instant replays and to make sure that we're going live and everything's working well. So far, the Wi-Fi seems to be working pretty good. If for any reason the Wi-Fi drops, we'll upload it later to YouTube. And again, we're broadcasting on Facebook as well as Brickwall Broadcast on YouTube. And I want to thank all of our subscribers. We're over 100. I think we're at like 110 now. And Chad doing some of the 10U Mustangs games helped us out, get some extra viewers and subscribers. So we're coming to you from Delmont. And it's nice because we have a hotel close by instead of having to drive far for each game. And the 16U Mustangs will be here this weekend as well. I believe their first game is tomorrow. Again, this is our first game of the Western PA State Championships. So we'll play our first 3 round-robin games, and then the winner of the 2 separate divisions. So we're in a division with 3 other teams, and then there's another division of 4 teams, and the winner of each division will play each other in the championship game. We're in a division with the North Pittsburgh Wildcats, the Erie Junior Otters, and the South Pittsburgh Rebellion. And then the other division, I don't have my papers in front of me, so I'm trying to remember. It'll be the Aviators, Vengeance, the PHA Icemen, and my brain can't think of the other one right now. I'm not quite sure how the point system works for this tournament. There wasn't anything kind of on the website as far as whether you get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, 0 points for a loss, or if it goes by period, or if every game is played to a winner. I'm not quite sure. There were some rules online for the national tournaments, but they said that those rules could be followed if wanted for the state tournaments, but they don't have to be. So we'll just play it by ear. Oh, the Arctic Foxes are the other team. Thanks, Chad. So we're going through warm-ups. We still have 1:30 left in warm-ups. Whoa. And then the winner of the state tournament will go to nationals in Dallas, Texas, the end of the month. So the Mustangs are coming in as the second seeded team in Western PA. And my daughter Layla is in the championship game for her volleyball tournament right now. And it looks like from the text messages coming through, they lost the first set but won the second set, so they're going to the third set for the championship game. So good luck to the Devil Tigers, Layla's volleyball team. Lots of sports going on this weekend, and good luck to all the other teams that are playing this weekend as well. Lots of hockey, lots of volleyball. I know some other hockey siblings are playing volleyball this weekend too. Does Allie have a game? No. No games for Luke's sister. So the Mustangs break the huddle, going over to the bench. Again, we're playing against the North Pittsburgh Wildcats in their dark jerseys. We're going to be in our light jerseys. Looks like we have 16 minutes up on the clock. I believe there are 1:30 penalties. And thank you everybody for tuning in. I know that this is a late game on a Thursday night. Everybody has to get up for school and work in the morning, so thanks for tuning in. And hopefully I don't mess up too much since it's been a while since I've done this. And thanks to Chad for filling in for me again. And Chad's sitting beside me to help with all the instant replays and the technical side of everything. So it looks like Winfield's going to the net on our left. We're going to have Wilson, Downey back on D. And then we're going to have Williams, Kaufman, and Eichfeld out on offense to start for the Mustangs. So getting ready for puck drop. Goes back towards Williams. Williams tries to push it in. Kaufman there trying to get it. Gets into the offensive zone. The Wildcats get it out into the neutral zone. Dumped it behind the net. Wildcats hit it around. Stopped over along the corner. Kaufman comes in there to break up that play. Goes towards the middle. The Wildcats hit it towards the side. Eichfeld tries to break up that play. Downey breaks up that play at the blue line. The Wildcats are still in pursuit behind the net. Nice hit by Williams there. Downey gets it towards the wall. Williams trying to get that puck out. Hits it up off of the glass, but it hits the netting. So first stoppage of play, 15:22 in the first period. We're going to have Brooks and Lugar, as well as Bildu, Knob, and Baker. So Bildu trying to break up that play. Lugar comes in. Brooks comes away with it. Brooks hits it behind the net. Brooks pass into the neutral zone to Bildu. Bildu has a little bit of room, gets it to Baker. Baker with a breakaway. Baker tries to take a shot wide of the net. The net's off and stoppage of play. So good rush there by the Mustangs. Good attempt. 14:56 left in the first period. Score still 0-0. We're going to have a face-off to the left of the goalie. We'll have Baker, Bildu, Lugar still out on offense. And we're going to have Wilson and Downey. Shot blocked. The Wildcats bring up along the boards. Downey hits it up towards Bildu, but I believe that's going to be offsides. Or maybe that was from the net. So we do have 4 refs for this game. So lots of refs watching the game for us. So Conrad's going to take the face off. The Wildcats dump it down. Wilson back in pursuit. Wilson hits it behind the net. Zoldi trying to get to that. Downey hits it up along the boards. The Wildcats dump it to the near corner. Downey wraps it around over towards Conrad. Conrad along the boards. Wilson hits it up towards Conrad. Play broken up by Wenzel. Centering pass to the Wildcats. Shot saved by Winfield. And we got a little bit of tension going on in front of the net. So good save there by Winfield. So 14-18 left in the first period, still 0-0. We'll have a face-off to the right of Winfield. So we'll have Giesman, Moore, Downey, wide line, and Wilson out there. So I believe that's going to be offsides. We'll face off outside the zone. Giesman will take the face off. Goes back towards Moore and Wilson. Giesman trying to get to the puck. The Wildcats dump it down and bring it in. Broken up there. Shot saved by Winfield. The Wildcats have it along the boards. Giesman breaks up that play. The Wildcats behind the net. Wilson tries to break up that play. Wide line with a hit to break up that play. Good job there. Centering pass broken up by Moore and Wilson. The Wildcats do keep it in. Downey collects, regroups, gets it around and into the neutral zone, passes it over towards wide line. Wide line tries to get a shot off, broken up, saved by the goalie. Moore putting pressure along the puck. Knob comes in. Downey in foot pursuit with the Wildcat. Wildcat with a shot, saved by Winfield. Moore has the puck, gets it up towards Giesman. Giesman over along the far boards. Giesman in pursuit. Wildcats send it over along the near boards. Get it into the neutral zone. Good breakup by Knob. Brooks behind the net. Changes directions. Brooks changes directions again. The Wildcats are there. Brooks gets it towards Knob. Knob in front of the net. Knob hits it up along the near boards. Gets it out towards Eichfeld. The Wildcats pass it through the neutral zone. Bouncing puck goes back towards the Wildcats. D-to-D pass into the neutral zone. Wildcats get it around. Shot deflected wide of the net. Knob will go back to pick this up. We have Williams, Kaufman, Eichfeld, Knob, and Brooks in for the Mustangs. The puck goes behind the net. Knob will pick this up. Gets it towards Eichfeld. Eichfeld changes directions behind the net, gets it up towards Kaufman, into the neutral zone. Williams has some speed. Williams has to the puck. Williams with a shot saved by the goalie. Good job there. Kaufman tries to get that puck in and covered by the goalie. So 12:22 left in the first period. Score is still 0-0. We'll face off to the right of the goalie. So we'll have Baker, Billadou, Lugar, Wilson, and Downey on a face-off to the right of the goalie. Lugar will take the face-off. The Wildcats come away with it, get it out through the neutral zone. It was tipped, so no icing. Downey will go back behind the net and collects it, hits it up along the boards. The Wildcats keep it in momentarily before Billadou comes up with it. Billadou and Baker, nice pass over to Baker. Baker back to Billadou. Billadou tries to get it back, but it gets broken up by the Wildcats. The Wildcats get it out into the neutral zone. Downey tries to break up that play, gets it to Baker. Baker with a shot on net, gloved by the goalie. So 11:50 left in the first period. Score is still 0-0. We'll face off to the left of the goalie. Billadou, Lugar, Baker, Downey, and Wilson. Oh, I think we got some mouth guards left in the net. So there was a mouth guard back on the ice in our defensive zone, and then another mouth guard in the net. So Lugar with the face-off. The Wildcats have it in the corner. Hit it up along the boards. Downey is there. Downey hits it up along the near boards to Billadou. Billadou into the offensive zone. Billadou with a shot. Glove save by the goalie. Good save there. 11:37 left in the first period. We'll face off to the right of the goalie. We're going to keep that same line out there. So Lugar with the face-off. Billadou hits it towards the far corner. Lugar will pick this up. Lugar tries to get it centered, but deflected behind the net. Baker in pursuit of this puck. Goes up towards Billadou. Billadou to Downey. Downey dumps it down behind the net. Baker trying to get to this puck. Baker tries to get a shot. Hits off the side of the net. The puck leaks around. Downey at the blue line to try to keep it in, but the Wildcats do get it out. Wildcats in a pursuit. Blue guard picks up this puck, hits it up off of the glass, gets it towards Downey and Billy to Baker. Baker into the offensive zone as the Mustangs go on a change. Baker all by himself as the Mustangs are on a change. The Wildcats pick this up, change directions. We have Conrad in there putting pressure along the puck. The Wildcats change directions behind the net, change directions again. We have Zoldy, Conrad, Wenzel, Knob, and Brooks in for the Mustangs, and that'll be icing. So 10:49 left in the first period, still 0-0. Face off to the left of the goalie. Conrad, Zoldy, Wenzel, Brooks, and Knob. So Conrad will take this face-off, goes towards the corner. Conrad's still trying to get to this puck. The Wildcats bring it behind the net, wrap it around. Brooks is there to keep it in. Brooks tries to get it towards Wenzel. Wenzel with a shot shed to the right by the goalie. Wildcats hit up along the boards. Wenzel with a nice hit to break up that play. Wenzel still getting to that puck. The Wildcats come away with it. Hit it around the boards. Zoldy getting to that puck. Zoldy comes away with it, hits it towards the net. Wildcats pick it up, change directions behind the net. Wildcats hit this up along the boards. No icing. So Knob is in pursuit of the puck. Winfield has to shed it to his right. Knob gets tied up with that player. Brooks trying to get to that puck. Brooks sends it behind the net. Conrad will pick this up. Conrad hits it up along the boards, but it goes off the netting. So at this rink, the glass is very low and the netting is high and leaned over. So it's very easy to hit the puck off of the glass, off of the netting. So we have stoppage of play. We have Geisman, Moore, Downey, Wideline, and Wilson. Shot saved by Winfield. Nice blocker save there. Cross in front of the net. Wideline hits this up along the boards. The Wildcats keep it in, dumb it down. Wideline gets to this puck, gets it to Geisman. Geisman over towards Moore. Moore along the boards. Leaks back to Geisman. Geisman brings it in to the offensive zone. The Wildcats hit this out into the neutral zone. Wideline comes in there with a nice hit to break up that play. Downey tries to get it, and it's covered by Winfield. Oh, that player kept jabbing at Winfield after the play. So we have, I believe that's 9:22. There's a couple lights missing on the scoreboard. I think it's 9:22 left of the first period. Score is still 0-0. Who was that went to the box? So I think that was Wideline that went to the box for that scuffle after the play. We're waiting for the penalty to get up on the scoreboard. So that Wildcats player came in with some extra pokes to Winfield afterwards. And then I believe it was a roughing penalty against Wideline for afterwards. So we have to correct the time. It's 2 minutes up on the clock. We have to get to 1:30 for the penalty. I've worked the clock before, and I know how stressful it can be to put those penalties up there. Okay, got 1:30 up on our penalty kill. Kaufman with the face-off goes up towards the Wildcats. Wildcats with a shot tipped wide of the net. Wilson and Zoldy going to try to get this puck, goes behind the net. Wilson behind the net, trying to break it up. The Wildcats come away with it. The Wildcats with a shot saved by Winfield. The puck still in front of the net and covered by Winfield. So we have Kaufman, Wilson, Downey, and Zoldy. Oh, we're changing things up. So we have Geisman, Conrad, Downey, and Wilson on our penalty kill to the left of Winfield. So Geisman with the face-off, still sitting on the dot. Conrad hits it behind the net. Downey hits this hard around the boards. Geisman trying to get this puck out. The Wildcats are there. Get it centered. Wildcats with a shot broken up by Conrad. The puck leaks out to the near wall. The Wildcats keep it in at the blue line. Wildcats change direction. Shot, nice block by Giesman. The puck over along the far boards. Wildcats circling. We still have 52 seconds left on our penalty kill. Wildcats towards the bottom of the circle. Wildcats to the top. Shot, saved by Winfield. The puck leaks towards the boards. Cross ice, pass to the point. Shot, saved. Conrad picks up this puck, gets it out and through the neutral zone. But that'll be icing. So we have 8:21 left in the first period. 30 seconds left on our penalty kill. Score is still 0-0. We have Knob, Brooks, Kaufman, and Eichfeld on a face-off to the left of Winfield. So Eichfeld with that face-off. Eichfeld comes away with it. Shot just wide of the net for icing. So still 23 seconds left on our penalty kill. We'll face off to the left of Winfield again. Eichfeld will take this face off. Still sitting on the dot. Brooks comes away with it. Brooks gets it up towards Kaufman. Kaufman over towards the far boards. Kaufman through the neutral zone. Oh, Kaufman gets taken down. The Wildcats will regroup. 10 seconds left on our penalty kill. The Wildcats with some speed through the neutral zone. The Wildcats dump it high and hits off that net. That net is definitely going to be an issue with how far it leans over the ice. So we're going to have a center ice face-off. We're going to have Eichfeld, Kaufman, Downey, and Wilson. So Eichfeld with the face-off. Wilson gets it up into the zone. The Wildcats regroup. Good job by Kaufman to break up that play. Back to the D. The Wildcats pass it D to D. Pass it into the neutral zone. The Wildcats will dump it behind the net. Williams comes in, gets it towards Downey. Downey hits it up along the boards. Wildcats keep it in. Ooh, that was a blocker save that then rolled along the top of the goal, but does not go in. Another blocker save by Winfield into the netting. So that was a close one. That puck rolled along the top of the goal over to the other side. So we have 7:22 left in the first period, still 0-0. We're back to full strength. We have Lugar, Baker, Bilodeau, Wilson, and Downey. So Downey comes up with the puck, takes it behind the net, hits it along the boards. We'll go in pursuit. Downey's still fighting for the puck, comes away with it. Downey crosses over towards Baker, but it gets picked off. Wilson gets it over towards the boards. Wilson's still fighting for this puck. The Wildcats have it at the top of the slot. Baker breaks up that play momentarily before the Wildcats come away with it, dump it down to the side of the net. Bilodeau comes in. Bilodeau comes away with the puck. Bilodeau passes it over towards Baker in the neutral zone. Gets poke checked by the Wildcats. Bilodeau picks this up. Baker gets back on sides. Bilodeau over towards Baker. Baker with a shot, but it gets deflected to the back corner. The Wildcats have it behind the net. Bilodeau will go try to collect the puck. Bilodeau fighting for this puck along the boards. Gets it towards the middle, but the Wildcats get out towards the boards again. Cross ice pass broken up by Baker. Baker over towards Lugar at the corner. Lugar will bring behind the net. Lugar gets hung up back along the boards. Wildcats pass it to the corner and behind the net. Wildcats get it into the neutral zone. Oh, Lugar tries to keep that in, bounces out into the neutral zone. Bilodeau putting pressure along with Knob. Knob will go back to collect. Knob surveying, passes it over to Downey. Downey through the neutral zone. Downey brings it into the offensive zone. Downey brings it around. Downey tries to center it, gets broken up by the Wildcats. Wildcats pass it out into the neutral zone. Wenzel will go over and passes it back up. The Wildcats collect, pass it D to D into the neutral zone, dump it down towards the corner. Downey picks this up, changes directions again. The Wildcats have it behind the net. Downey putting pressure along the puck before the Wildcats change directions. Wildcats try to center it, gets broken up. Wenzel picks up this puck into the neutral zone, gets broken up. Zoldy dumps it down before he'll go on a change. Conrad into the corner to pick up this puck. Conrad dumps it up towards Brooks. Brooks back down towards Conrad before he gets hit. Conrad tries to center it. And there's going to be an elbowing penalty against the Wildcats. So we'll go on a power play for a minute 30. So we have 5:07 left in the first period. We'll be on a power play for a minute 30. Score is still 0-0. We'll have Eichfeld, Kaufman, Bilodeau, Downey, and Wilson. Sorry, Downey and Brooks. And we'll have a face-off to the right of the goalie. So they're trying to get the penalty correct up there. There we go. So Eichfeld with the faceoff goes back towards Brooks. Brooks from the top passes over to Bilodeau. Bilodeau with a shot wide of the net. Wildcats pick this up. Downey keeps it, leaks out into the neutral zone and goes back. Brooks will go back to collect. Brooks behind the net, leaves it for Downey. Downey has some speed through the neutral zone. Downey brings it into the offensive zone. Downey around that player. Downey brings it in, shot. Oh, good save by the goalie. It was not whistled. Now it is whistled. So 4:36 left in the first period. We still have a minute on our power play. Score is still 0-0. We'll face off to the right of the goalie. Eichfeld, Bilodeau, Kaufman, Downey, and Brooks. The Wildcats pick this up behind the net, hit it around the boards. Downey with a shot deflected into the corner. Bilodeau trying to get to that puck. The Wildcats hit it hard along behind the net. Kaufman breaks up that play. Bilodeau and Kaufman fighting for that puck along the boards. And it hits the net. So 4:12 left in the first period, 36 seconds left on our power play. So we're going to have Giesman, wide line, Williams, Knob, and Downey. So Giesman with the face-off goes over towards wide line back toward Downey. Downey with a shot, tipped. Oh, good tip, just wide of the net. Giesman picks this up, passes it back to Knob at the point. Knob dumps it down towards Giesman. Giesman fighting for this puck. Giesman still trying to get this puck, gets it towards Knob. The Wildcats do get out into the neutral zone. The Wildcats have some speed. Downey is there to break up that play. And we get out into the neutral zone. Williams comes in to break up that play. Williams brings it into the offensive zone. Williams with a shot, saved by the goalie. So 3:43 left in the first period, 6 seconds left in our power play. So a face-off to the left of the goalie. We're going to have Bilodeau, Lugar, Baker, Knob, and Brooks. Lugar with the face-off, still sitting on the dot. Baker comes away with it. Baker with a backhanded shot. Oh, good attempt there. That's saved by the goalie. 2 seconds left on the power play. So Lugar will take a shot or face off again. Goes over towards Baker. Baker towards the middle. The Wildcats dump it hard out into the neutral zone. The Wildcats are back at full strength. Pass it over, broken up momentarily by Brooks. Going towards the middle. Shot saved by Winfield. Good job off of his face mask there. Baker brings this up along the boards. Baker to Bilodeau. Bilodeau. Siren step. Shot deflected wide of the net. Baker comes in to try to break up that play. Bilodeau trying to get to that puck. The Wildcats bring it behind the net. Good job by Lugar to break up that play. Brooks trying to keep it in. Brooks does keep it in momentarily before it leaks out. Baker recollects, waits for us to get back on sides before he dumps it down. The Mustangs will go on a change. So we have Conrad, Zoldy, Wenzel, Knob, and Wilson out there. Wenzel putting pressure along this puck. Goes behind the net. Conrad comes in. His stick gets hung up, but still trying to get to that puck. Zoldy centers it. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody there. The Wildcats pick this up. Wildcats through the neutral zone. Knob poke checks it out to the corner. Shot saved by Winfield. Knob behind the net. Conrad picking up this puck. The Wildcats get it towards the center. Centering shot deflected wide of the net. Wenzel hits his puck up and gets it out into the neutral zone. The Wildcats will regroup. Zoldy putting pressure along that puck. Does get hung up there, but the Wildcats do get it into our defensive zone. Downey along the boards to break up that play. Downey still fighting for that puck. Gets away with it. Downey into the neutral zone. Downey has some speed. Downey with a shot. Glove saved by the goalie. So 1:55 left in the first period. The score is still 0-0. We'll have Giesman, Moore, wide line, Downey, and Wilson on faceoff to the left of the goalie. Giesman, the faceoff. Moore hits it towards the middle. The Wildcats come away with it. Wilson putting pressure. Wildcats with a shot wide of the net. Moore along the boards. The puck leaks back. Wilson will collect. Wilson hits this hard out into the neutral zone. Giesman was streaking, but the Wildcats got there first. The Wildcats dump it down to the far corner. Leaks towards Winfield, but it's picked up by Downey. Downey hits it along the far boards. Wide line coming in with a nice hit to break up that play. We tried to get it out, but the Wildcats keep it in. Shot deflected wide of the net. Moore sends it behind the net. Downey sends it back up along the boards. Giesman into the neutral zone. Giesman trying to fight for that puck. Moore gets it into the offensive zone. Wide line in pursuit of this puck. The Wildcats hit it behind the net into the far corner. Giesman's there to keep it in. Wildcats hit it up off of the boards. Giesman's still fighting for this puck. Wide line and assistance to Giesman. Still hung up along the boards. The Wildcats come away with it. Wildcats bring it into the neutral zone and dump it down after they gain the red line. Brooks and Knob in pursuit of this puck. Knob putting pressure. The Wildcats dump it down to the red line. Centering pass. Oh, thank goodness they couldn't connect on that. Williams and Moore to break up that play. Gets out into the neutral zone. The Wildcats will regroup and dump it down after they get back on sides. Knob will take it from behind the net. Hits it up towards Williams along the near boards. The Wildcats keep it in. Shot saved by Winfield. Knob along the boards. Williams trying to get that puck out. Gets it to Eichfeld. Eichfeld through the neutral zone. Eichfeld with a shot. Another glove save by the goalie. So that goalie has a good glove save there. We got to just keep shooting. 10 seconds left in the first period. Score still 0-0. Eichfeld, Kaufman, Williams, Wilson, and Downey. So Kaufman trying to get a shot off, goes wide of the net. Eichfeld in pursuit. Kaufman over along the boards with Eichfeld, and that'll be the end of the first period. So the end of the first period, the score is still 0-0. Thank you everybody for tuning in. This is the 14U AA Mid-State Mustangs playing against the North Pittsburgh Wildcats in their first game of the state championships. Thank you for tuning in with us this late. We'll have another game tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. against the Erie Junior Otters, and then a game on Saturday at 11 a.m. against South Pittsburgh Rebellion, and then the championship game will be on Sunday. I'm going to put you on mute during the intermission, and we'll be back. Okay, we're back for the second period. We're going to have Billadoo, Baker, Lugar, Brooks, and Knob with Winfield on net to our right. 60 minutes up on the clock. Goes back towards the Wildcats. Wildcats hit this up along the near boards and dump it down. Knob will go collect. Hits it around the boards towards Baker and Brooks. Still fighting for that puck in the corner. Puck leaks up towards the blue line. Broken up by the Mustangs. Still sitting in the middle there. Gets to the side of the net. The Wildcats center it. Broken up by Lugar. Lugar gets it over towards Bildu. Bildu to Baker in the neutral zone. Good pass there. Baker bringing it around. Drop pass. Oh, drop pass to Bildu. Bildu tried to get that shot off. The defense was changing, but thankfully we got back in time. Puck leaks towards the front of the net, off of the board. Still hung up along the side of the net there. Over to the point, up to the top. Shot saved and blocked. Downey comes up with it. Downey through the neutral zone, gets it around that player before the Wildcats send it back up. We do dump it back down. The Wildcats will regroup. Wenzel putting pressure along that puck, along with Bildu. Bildu breaks up that play. Bildu and Conrad fighting for that puck. Bildu comes up with it momentarily before the Wildcats take it away. Wilson and Downey back on D. Shot wide of the net. Winfield will shed it to his right. Downey hits that up towards the far boards. Conrad dumps it behind the net towards Downey. Downey tries to bounce pass it back, but it goes off the boards, weirds to Wilson. The Wildcats try to get a shot off, broken up by Wilson. Conrad hits the puck behind the net towards Downey. Puck goes up towards Wenzel along the boards. Downey with the puck, but it gets broken up by the Wildcats. The Wildcats center it. Good job by Conrad to block that puck. The Wildcats keep it in at the point, send it back down. Conrad still putting pressure along the puck. The Wildcats change directions. Wildcats circle it around, goes wide of the net. Wildcats in the corner. Conrad putting pressure along that puck. Downey comes up with it, gets it over towards Conrad. Wenzel gets it out into the neutral zone. Wenzel still fighting to get this puck. Wenzel does poke check it into our offensive zone. Tries to get it center, broken up by the Wildcats. Wildcats get it out into the neutral zone. Brooks will have to go back to collect. He tipped it, so no icing. Brooks hits it over towards Downey, but it gets broken up by the Wildcats. Downey does get to it. Wildcats in the neutral zone hit it back along the near boards. Giesman back to Downey. Downey over to Brooks. Brooks up to Giesman. Giesman tips it. Gets picked off by the Wildcats. Wide line and more in there, along with Giesman and offense. Wildcats up to the point. Shot tipped wide of the net. Brooks putting pressure along this puck, comes away with it, but the Wildcats pick this up, try to do a wraparound, and saved. So saved by the total Winfield skate. 12:55 left in the second period. Score still 0-0. Going face off to the left of Winfield. We'll have more Giesman, wide line, Knob, and I think that's Brooks out there. So wide line hits it up along the boards. Wide line in pursuit of this puck, but that'll be icing. So 12:45 left in the second period. We'll repeat that face-off. So wide line up along the boards, goes back towards Giesman. Giesman still fighting for this puck along the boards. Giesman a wide line there. Leak it up towards the neutral zone. Moore tries to break up that play. D-to-D pass by the Wildcats. Wildcats dump it down to the corner. Brooks in pursuit of the puck. Goes behind the net. Brooks comes away with it. Brooks has some speed. Stutter step gets it over towards Giesman in the neutral zone. Giesman to Moore. Moore gets it over towards wide line. Poke checked by the Wildcats. Knob back to collect. Knob still fighting for this puck. Hits it around the boards. The Wildcats keep it in at the point. Shot saved by Winfield. So definitely lots of excitement in front of the net there. So 12 minutes left in the second period. Still 0-0. We're going to have Wilson and Downey back on D. Eichfeld, Williams, and Kaufman on offense. So Eichfeld with a face-off. Kaufman poke checks that up, but the Wildcats keep it in. Shot wide of the net. Williams over along the near boards. Williams to the middle towards Eichfeld. Eichfeld with that puck, drops it back for Kaufman. Kaufman to Eichfeld. Williams comes in to get this puck. Williams looking to center. Eichfeld in assistance. Williams into the corner. Centers it. Deflected by the Wildcats. The Wildcats behind the net. Send it up along the boards. The Wildcats will regroup and get it out into the neutral zone. Picked off by Eichfeld, who gets it up towards Williams. Williams still fighting for this puck along the boards. Puck leaks up. We do dump it down. Eichfeld putting pressure along that puck. The Wildcats get this up and out. No icing as they were tipping. Wilson back to try to get to this puck first. Gets it towards, I think that was wide line. No, that was Kaufman, sorry. Kaufman with icing. All of these kids have grown so much during the season that they used to have significant height differences, some of them, but now they're all starting to catch up, and it's harder for me to tell them apart. And some of the kids changed gear over the last couple of weeks, so trying to remember and learn everybody. So Lugar with the face-off along with Baker, Billadu, Wilson, and Downey. The puck leaks over to the far boards. The Wildcats try to get a shot off, but miss. Good poke check by the Mustangs. Get it out there. Billadu in pursuit of this puck. Billadu putting good pressure along this puck. Billadu still trying to get to this puck. Billadu in the corner. The Wildcats come away with it. Wildcats get it up into the neutral zone. Wilson will go back to collect. Wilson cross-ice pass picked off by the Wildcats. Wildcats circle around, dump it back to the circle. Wildcats with a shot behind the net. They have it at the point, dump it down towards the corner, goes behind the net. Wilson will pick this up, hits it up along the boards. Baker breaks up that play momentarily. The Wildcats keep it in. Lugar there to try to break up the play. They dump it down to the corner. The Wildcats try to get it center, broken up by Downey. Wildcats up at the point in the blue line. Downey with this puck gets it out and along the boards. Downey with some speed, trying to get it center, but it's picked off. Mustangs go on a change. The Wildcats have some speed during that change. Brooks comes in to pick that off. Zoldi picks up the puck, gets it over towards Downey. Downey to Conrad. Conrad through the neutral zone over to Wenzel. Wenzel dumps it down to the corner. Zoldi in pursuit of this puck. Zoldi still fighting for this puck. Conrad trying to get to this puck as well. The Wildcats hit it up along the boards. Wenzel breaks up that play momentarily. Brooks tries to keep it in, but it bounces out. Still fighting for this puck. The Wildcats dump it down after they gain the red line. Knob has this puck, gets it over towards Brooks along the boards. Brooks to Conrad in the neutral zone. Conrad up towards Wenzel. Wenzel with a dump to the corner. The Wildcats pick this up, bring it over to the boards. Giesman with a poke check to keep that towards the blue line. Giesman still putting pressure along that puck. Moore tries to break up that play as well. Knob will go back to collect. Dumps it behind the net. Unfortunately, the Wildcats were there. Moore broke up that play momentarily. Moore still fighting for this puck. The Wildcats pick this up in the middle. Wildcats with a backhanded shot over the net. Shot stick saved by Winfield. Shot deflected wide off the side of the net. Shot wide of the net. Moore gets this up towards Giesman. Giesman in through the neutral zone. The Wildcats bring it through the neutral zone and dump it down, gloved by Brooks. Brooks over towards Giesman along the far boards. Giesman still fighting for this puck. Moore in assistance. The puck leaks back. Wilson is there and dumps it down. That was Knob. Wineline comes in and try to get a shot off. Wineline still fighting for that puck. Eichfeld comes in to break up that play momentarily. The Wildcats have this through the neutral zone. Wilson putting pressure along that puck. The Wildcats dump it down behind the net. Downey is there, gets it back towards Wilson. Wilson over towards Kaufman. Wildcats with a high shot, almost took off their player's head. Wilson trying to get to this puck. It's to Eichfeld behind the net. Eichfeld with speed into the neutral zone. Eichfeld dumps it down to the corner. Eichfeld in pursuit of this puck. Eichfeld wraps it around, dumps it for Williams. Williams tries to get a shot off, but the Wildcats pick this off. Wildcats cross ice pass and tip it. No icing. Downey trying to get to this puck. Downey comes away with it. Sends it behind the net. Williams will go to collect. Williams gives it towards Wilson. Wilson back to Williams and Eichfeld. Shot by the Wildcats. Deflected, thankfully wide of the net. Wilson, centering pass up towards Kaufman into the neutral zone. Kaufman trying to get to that puck, and that'll be offsides. So 6:38 left in the second period. The score is still 0-0. We'll have a face-off outside our defensive zone. We have Baker, Lugar, Billadou, Wilson, and Downey. So Baker will go to try to get to this puck. Baker comes away with it, tries to get a shot off, deflected by the Wildcats. Baker still fighting for this puck. Lugar there, all gets deflected by the Wildcats. Wildcats through the neutral zone. Wilson back on D. The Wildcats have some speed. Wildcats come in, nice save by Winfield. Puck deflected wide of the net. The puck leaks up along the boards, and that should be offsides. So 6:05 left in the second period. We'll face off outside the defensive zone. We'll have Knob, Brooks, Zoldy, Conrad, and Wenzel. Conrad will take this face-off, goes towards Zoldy, back to Wenzel. Wenzel trying to pass it back towards Brooks. Brooks hits his hard up along the boards, tipped, so no icing. Wenzel coming in aggressively to try to get to this puck and does get to this puck. Good job by Wenzel there. Conrad comes away with the puck. Conrad trying to get to this puck. Conrad comes away with it, dumps it back behind the net. The Wildcats come away with it. Zoldy putting pressure along that puck, gets picked off by Brooks. Brooks dumps it down on net. Goalie sheds it to his right. The Wildcats hit this hard along the boards. We keep it in. The Wildcats up along the boards. Knob is there with a shot, saved by the goalie. The Wildcats behind the net. Giesman putting pressure. Brooks keeps that in, gets it towards Wenzel. Wenzel towards Moore. The Wildcats do get this out. It goes on net, so Winfield will have to play this. And the Wildcats come in, but it's covered. So 5:03 left in the second period. Score is still 0-0. We're going to have wide line, Giesman, Moore, Downey, and Wilson on a face-off to the right of Winfield. Giesman with the face-off, the Wildcats come up with it. Shot deflected wide of the net. Wilson will go back, hits that puck, but it bounces off the Wildcats. The Wildcats hit it over towards the circle. Moore putting pressure along this puck, leaks behind the net. Wilson gets that towards Moore. Moore with the puck, centering pass picked off by the Wildcats. Wildcats center it again. Thankfully, they didn't have anybody there. Moore picks up this puck, dumps it up, and bounces off of something, but still playing it. Downey. So I thought that puck bounced off of something. So we'll have a center ice face-off, I believe. Nope, we're going to have a face-off to the right of Winfield. So 4:33 left in the second period. Kaufman, Eichfeld, Williams, Wilson, and Downey. So Eichfeld comes away with this puck, gets it through the neutral zone, passes it over to Williams. Williams tries to get that in. Eichfeld, just offsides. Unfortunately, Williams lost an edge there, was trying to get back on sides. So we've got a little bit of a confrontation down there. Thankfully, the refs broke that up. So we'll face off just outside our offensive zone. Eichfeld will take the face off with Williams to the left and Kaufman to the right. Wilson and Downey back on D. Wilson trying to get to this puck. The Wildcats dump it down to the corner. Downey in pursuit. Changes directions towards Williams. Williams hits this up at the Wildcat, keep it in at the blue line. Downey hits this puck up towards Williams. Williams over to Eichfeld. Eichfeld through the neutral zone. Eichfeld with a shot, saved by the goalie, but it bounces up really weird. The Wildcats come up with it and get it out into the neutral zone. Brooks over to Downey. The Mustangs have to regroup. Downey brings it in. Downey around. Downey with a backhand shot off of the goalie. The Wildcats take it behind the net. Change directions. Bilodeau keeps that puck in and steals it. Bilodeau with a nice shot, saved by the goalie. Williams over along these boards. Still fighting for the puck. Williams dumps it down behind the net. Bilodeau in pursuit along the far boards. Williams with a shot just wide of the net. Brooks will go collect, dumps it down. Bilodeau behind the net fighting for this puck. Bilodeau broke it up momentarily before the Wildcats changed directions. Baker tries to break up that play. The Wildcats do tip this down. Brooks will go, but that'll be icing. So 3:05 left in the second period. The score is still 0-0. We'll have a face-off to the right of the goalie. We have Lugar, Bilodeau, Baker, Brooks, and Knob. So the refs are talking. We do have 4 refs for this game. For normal games, we usually only have 2, but obviously this is a state championship, so we have extra refs. The refs are talking, making sure everything is going smoothly. Thank you again, everybody who's tuning in. So we have Baker, Brooks, Lugar, Bilodeau, and Knob. So Lugar will take the faceoff, goes over towards Baker. Brooks keeps this in momentarily before it leaks out. Knob will go back to collect. Knob over towards Bilodeau, but the Wildcats dump it down. Knob in pursuit of this puck. Knob hits it behind the net. Brooks hits that hard up into the neutral zone. Baker will collect. Baker drop passes it for Lugar. Nice pass there. Lugar with a shot just wide of the net. Brooks keeps it in, dumps it down. The Wildcats hit it around. Baker is there to collect, passes it over towards Lugar, but it does get broken up. But Baker comes away. The towards Bilodeau. Oh, nice pass there. Just couldn't get the shot off. Knob dumps it to Baker. Oh, Baker tries to get a one-timer. Right in that centering pass. Bilodeau tries to get to us, but is picked off by the Wildcats. Brooks with a poke check, but it goes to the other Wildcats player. The Wildcats will dump it down to the corner. Goes behind the net. Knob will collect it. Knob still fighting for this puck. Knob to Lugar in the center, brings it through the neutral zone. We've got some numbers, 3-on-2. Oh, Lugar takes an edge, but still sticking with it. Good poke check behind the net. Bilodeau trying to get to this puck along with Lugar. The Wildcats get it out towards the far boards. Wildcats into the neutral zone. Downey poke checks that up towards Baker. Baker to Bilodeau. Unfortunately, gets poke checked back into the neutral zone. Have to get back on sides. The Wildcats get it out. Eichfeld putting pressure along this puck. The Wildcats have it into the corner. Eichfeld still putting pressure. Eichfeld dumps it along the boards. The Wildcats keep it in at the blue line. Shot saved by Winfield. Eichfeld comes away with it, hits it up towards Kaufman. Kaufman to Downey. Downey through the neutral zone. Downey brings it around. Downey with a backhanded shot. Oh. Good save by that goalie. So Downey hesitated and tried to get the goalie out of position, but unfortunately, the backhand shot was saved. So we have 1:10 left in the second period. Score is still 0-0. We're going to have Williams, Kaufman, Eichfeld, Wilson, no, Brooks, and Downey. So I think that the Wildcats changed too late, so they had to send those other players back out onto the ice. So face off to the left of the goalie. Eichfeld with a face off. Eichfeld comes away with it momentarily. Hoffman does get it back down, centers it to Eichfeld. Eichfeld trying to get the shot off, broken up by the Wildcats. Wildcats through the neutral zone. Downey back to put pressure. Downey putting pressure again. The Wildcats have it at the corner. Eichfeld trying to break up the play. The Wildcats have it around. They lose an edge behind the net. Downey picks this up. Downey with the puck. Comes away with it over towards the near boards. Downey has some speed through the neutral zone. Downey brings it in. Downey with a shot, saved by the goalie. Another good save there by the goalie. So 30 seconds left in the second period. Score still 0-0. So Brooks, Downey, Williams, Eichfeld, and Kaufman on face up to the right of the goalie. The Wildcats have it behind the net, send it around the far boards. Pressure by Kaufman. Wildcats hit it up along the boards again. Pressure by Downey. The Wildcats have this through the neutral zone. Brooks is there to poke check. It goes back to the Wildcats. Wildcats try to center. It gets behind the net. The Wildcats are there. Saved and covered by Winfield. So we have 10 seconds left in the second period. So Kiesman, Lugar, Downey, Eichfeld, and Brooks. So the Wildcat have it at the bottom of the red line. The centering pass broken up. So, and we get that up. So they never started the clock. So I think they're going to call that the 10 seconds that was left on the clock. So for this series of games, we do have an ice cut between the second and the third period. Hopefully the Mustangs can regroup in the locker room, come back with some extra energy for the third period, and put some pressure on the Wildcats. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to mute you during the ice cut, and then we will be back for the third period. Okay. Getting ready to start the third period. We've got our mom and sibling cheer squad with our pom-poms as the Mustangs come out of the locker room to start the third period after the ice cut. Pumping up the energy, getting the Mustangs all excited. So Layla's team came away with a championship win for her volleyball team. So now the Mustangs need to come with a win tonight too. So hopefully we've got energized during the ice cut break in between the second and third intermission, or second to third period, and we come back strong. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in with us for some late night hockey on a Thursday night. And this is the 14U AA Mid-State Mustangs playing against the North Pittsburgh Wildcats in our first game of the Western PA State Championship Tournament. We'll play again tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. against the Erie Junior Otters and 11 a.m. against South Pittsburgh Rebellion on Saturday. And then the championship game will be on Sunday. So the Mustangs break their huddle. We have 16 minutes up on the clock. Winfield's going to the net on our left. We're going to have Downey, Knob, Moore, Giesman, and Wideline out for the Mustangs to start us off for the third period. Score is still 0-0. So Giesman will take the face off. Goes back towards Moore. Moore hits it up towards Giesman. The Wildcats hit it down. Knob hits that over along the boards. The Wildcats dump it down. Knob kicks it out into the neutral zone, and the Wildcats will be offsides. So 15:46 left in the third period. We'll take the faceoff outside of our defensive zone. Giesman, with faceoff, goes it back towards the Wildcats. Wildcats dump it on net, saved by Winfield. Leaves it for Knob. Knob takes it behind the net. Knob up towards Wideline. Wideline out towards Downey. The Wildcats come up with it momentarily before Giesman gets it over towards Wideline. Wideline up along the far boards, dumps it towards the net. Wideline still in pursuit, not covered by the goalie, so going for it. And the net's off. So stoppage of play for the net. 15:21 left in the third period. So we're going to have Wilson and Brooks, Downey, Giesman, and Wideline. Downey with a shot went off of the Wildcats skates. The Wildcats take it behind the net, change directions. Good pressure by Wideline. Poked up. Wilson keeps it in at the blue line. Wideline in pursuit of this puck. The Wildcats hit it along the far boards. Giesman breaks up that play. Brooks gets it down towards Giesman. Giesman towards Wideline. Wideline over towards Wilson. Wilson dumps it down to the corner to Wideline. Downey behind the net, dumps it back to his Wideline. Wideline tries to center, but it gets broken up by the Wildcats. Brooks keeps that play towards the corner. Centering pass broken up by the Wildcats. Giesman putting pressure along that puck. Downey trying to get to that puck. Downey does keep it in momentarily before the Wildcats get it into the neutral zone and dump it down. Wilson will go behind the net to try to collect this puck, hits it up along the wall. Downey is there. The Wildcat player goes down. Downey comes away with it. Downey with some speed, poke checked by the Wildcats. Downey comes up with it, gets it back towards Eichfeld, but unfortunately the Wildcats come away with it. Williams putting pressure along this puck. Knob will collect it, dumps it up along the far boards. Eichfeld trying to get to that puck. The Wildcats dump it down to the corner, more behind the net. Wildcats come up with it. Wildcats centering it, deflected in front of Winfield, and Winfield covers it. So 13:56 left in the third period. The score is still 0-0. We'll have a face-off to the right of Winfield. We're going to have Eichfeld, Kaufman, Williams, Moore, and I think that's Knob. So good job by Kaufman to try to break up that play. Still fighting for it. Eichfeld comes away with it into the neutral zone. Kaufman will pick this up, dumps it down. Eichfeld in pursuit of this puck. The Wildcats do get it out into the neutral zone. Kaufman with a hit to break up that play. Knob sends it up, but it gets deflected by the Wildcats. Wildcats dump it to the corner. Moore will go back to collect. Moore up towards Williams. Williams and Eichfeld. Eichfeld with a hit to break up the play. Williams over towards Kaufman. Kaufman will dump it down after he gains the red line. The Mustangs will go into change. Eichfeld is in the corner to get this. Eichfeld trying to get to that puck, but he gets hung up along the boards. The puck goes behind the net. Wildcats up into the neutral zone. The Wildcats bring it through. Wilson putting pressure along that puck. Brooks poke checks it out towards the wall. Brooks takes it behind the net, changes directions, hits it up along the near boards. Bilodeau is there to get it to Eichfeld. Eichfeld into the offensive zone. Eichfeld with a shot deflected wide of the net. Baker there to try to get the rebound in, just wide of the net. The Wildcats get it out into the neutral zone. Brooks over towards Baker. Bilodeau will try to get to this puck before the Wildcats. Baker dumps it down into the offensive zone. The Wildcats pick this up and hit it along the far boards. Brooks is there to keep it in. Good job by Lugar to break up that play, but the Wildcats do get it into the neutral zone. The Wildcats with some speed. Baker tries to break up that play. Lugar with some good back checking to get to that puck. Lugar getting it up along the boards. He gets taken down. The Wildcats have it in the neutral zone. D-to-D pass by the Wildcats. Baker's coming in to try to break up that play. Poke check there. The Wildcats keep it in at the blue line. Brooks trying to get to this puck. Brooks will dump it towards Baker into the neutral zone. There was a little bit of confusion there. I'm not sure what was going on. The Wildcats dump it down into the corner. Wilson in pursuit. Wilson breaks up that play. Still fighting for that puck. Downey in assistance. Wilson and Downey and Bilodeau fighting for that puck. Downey comes away with it. Downey has some speed through the neutral zone. Downey brings it into the offensive zone. Shot high up over the net and out of play. So 11:24 left in the third period. Score is still 0-0. We'll face off to the right of the goalie. Wide line, Giesman, Downey, Knob, and Moore. Downey will take the face off. Goes over towards Giesman along the wall. Giesman changes directions. Back to Knob. Knob with a shot. Saved by the goalie out towards the corner. Wide line will pick up this puck. Wide line over towards Knob at the blue line. Knob centering pass. Oh, wide line tries to get that shot off. Good save by that goalie. The Wildcats bring it into the neutral zone. Pass it over. Moore breaks up that play. Downey will pick this up. Downey still fighting for the puck. Moore comes away with it. Moore takes it behind the net over towards the far wall. Moore still trying to get to this puck. Moore does get it out into the neutral zone. The Wildcats pick this up, send it to the near boards, bounces off towards Downey and Giesman. Giesman comes away with it. Giesman brings it into the offensive zone. Poke check back, but wide line is there. Wide line gets it over to Downey. Downey fighting for the puck, but the Wildcats come away with it. The Wildcats regrouping in the neutral zone, shot wide of the net, and that'll be icing. So 10:18 left in the third period, still 0-0. We have Giesman, Eichfeld, Wilson, Brooks, and Williams. Shot deflected wide of the net. Williams over along the boards. Brooks will pick this up. Brooks with a centering shot, deflected just wide of the net. Williams in pursuit. Ooh, good steal by Williams. Kaufman picks that up. Kaufman trying to get that puck. The Wildcats have it in the corner. Eichfeld is there to break up that play momentarily. Wilson keeps that into the blue line. Good job by Wilson there. The puck leaks over along the far boards into the neutral zone. Kaufman will collect this puck, sends it to Williams. Williams, tries to get over towards Eichfeld, just a little bit behind. Ooh, Bouncing puck almost hit the ref or the coach. Brooks tries to get it out, but it deflects off of the Wildcats stick. The Wildcats keep it in the blue line. Good job by Eichfeld to keep that play out. Williams with some speed. Kaufman will go pick this up along the near boards. Kaufman trying to center, gets picked off by the Wildcats. The Wildcats cross ice pass, bounces to Winfield, who will have to cover it. So I believe that's 9:14. Again, some of the lights are out on the scoreboard, but I believe it's 9:14 left in the third period, still 0-0. Bildu, Baker, Lugar, Moore, and Knob. So Knob takes this puck momentarily before the Wildcats come away with it. Wildcats centering pass, thankfully couldn't connect. Broken up by the Mustangs. Moore hits this puck up along the near boards. Bildu in pursuit. Bildu breaks up that play. Lugar comes in to keep that puck in. Lugar is still fighting for this puck along the boards. Moore keeps it in at the blue line, dumps it along towards Bildu. The Wildcats hit it along. Baker is there. Baker with a big hit to break up that play. Bildu trying to get to this puck. The Wildcats still have it in the zone, but they do finally get it out into the neutral zone. They take it back. Cross ice pass to a player that was sitting on the blue line. Thankfully, they didn't have any options there. Passing backwards. Lugar putting pressure along this puck. DD pass. There's a delayed penalty, so the Wildcats have an extra player on the ice. They pulled their goalie for the delayed penalty against the Mustangs. The Wildcats take it behind the net. Wildcats up to the blue line. Shot towards the corner. Wildcats have it. Again, it's a 6-on-5 advantage because of the delayed penalty, and it should be called as soon as Lugar touches it. So 7:55 left in the third period. The Mustangs will go on a penalty kill. Bildu's going to the box for hooking, I think. So the Mustangs will be on a penalty kill for 1:30. We have Kaufman, Eichfeld, Wilson, and Brooks on a faceoff to the left of Winfield. So we're still trying to get that penalty up there. So the clock must be set to automatically do 2-minute penalties, and then you have to change it to 1:30. Okay, getting ready for the face-off. Brooks comes away with it, gets it out into the neutral zone, bounces off of the wall towards the goalie, but just side of the net, so that'll be icing. So we'll have face-off to the right of Winfield. 1:22 left on our penalty kill. Eichfeld will take the face-off. The Wildcats keep it in the blue line, deflected by Kaufman. Wildcats there. Good job by Eichfeld to break up that play. The Wildcats get it along the wall up to the blue line, over to the top of the circle. Shot saved by Winfield. Another shot saved by Winfield. So the puck wasn't actually covered there, but the refs lost sight of it and blew the whistle. So the Wildcats fans are a little bit upset about that. We have 7:28 left in the third period, 1:04 left on our penalty kill. Giesman, Conrad, Wilson, Brooks. Good job by Giesman to get that out towards Conrad. Conrad's still fighting for this puck. Wildcats come away with it, picked off by Brooks. Brooks takes it behind the net. Brooks hits it up, and again, that netting. So we'll have a face-off to the right of Winfield. So Giesman, Conrad, Moore, and Knob on a face-off to the right of Winfield. 49 seconds left on our penalty kill. Goes towards Conrad. Moore fighting for this puck. Moore pokes it towards the corner. Moore still fighting for this puck. Moore still putting pressure along there. Good job by Moore putting pressure. The Wildcats have it up at the blue line. Wildcats with a shot saved by Winfield. Bounces out to the corner. Wildcats take it behind the net. Wildcats up to the blue line. They're circling. 21 seconds left on our penalty kill from the dot. Shot saved by Winfield. Winfield last sight of it. Good job by Winfield there. So after the first save, Winfield kind of lost sight of it, but he was able to keep his body in there. And I think it was a hand pass that they blew dead. Not a covering of the puck. So 15 seconds left on our penalty kill, 6:39 left in the third period. We have Downey, Moore, Knob, and wide line. So shot saved by Winfield, another shot saved by Winfield, and the net's off. So 4 seconds left on our penalty kill. So Downey will take the face off. Moore trying to get to that puck behind the net. The Wildcats come away with it. We're back to full strength. Shot saved by Winfield. So good job there by the penalty kill line and by Winfield. 6:19 left in the third period. The score is still 0-0. We have Brooks, Downey, Wilson, Bilodeau, and wide line. So the puck is still sitting on the dot. Downey comes away with it. Downey has some speed through the neutral zone. Downey offsides. So we'll face off outside of the offensive zone for that offsides. So Downey with the face-off goes towards wide line. Downey comes away with it. Downey fighting to get to it. Wide line trying to get to it. Goes over towards Brooks. Brooks dumps it down to the corner. Wide line. We try to get to this puck. And it looks like it's going to be a delayed penalty against the Mustangs. So Bilodeau fighting to get to that puck. And that'll be a penalty. So let's see what this penalty is for. Looks like elbowing against wide line. So 5:47 left in the third period. The Mustangs will go back on a penalty kill for 1:30. We have Kaufman, Eichfeld, Wilson, and I think that's Brooks over there. So we're waiting for the penalty to get up on the clock. Okay. So Eichfeld with the face-off. Kaufman hits it up towards the blue line, but the Wildcats dump it back down. Wilson putting pressure along that puck. Wildcats bring it behind the net. Wildcats up to the blue line. Kaufman putting pressure. Wildcats at the circle, back to the blue line. Thankfully, it leaks out into the neutral zone, so the Wildcats will have to regroup. So the Wildcats bring it in. Poke check by Brooks. Momentarily shot saved by Winfield. Thankfully, we got that puck out of there. Good job by Wilson to keep that puck out. Brooks over towards Eichfeld. Eichfeld trying to get to that puck, but he's got 4 Wildcats on him. That Wildcat's still tying him up. The Wildcats bring it through the neutral zone. Good pressure by Kaufman. We'll go back to the corner. Brooks and Eichfeld trying to get to that puck. The Wildcats have it at the point. Shot blocked by Brooks. Brooks brings it into the neutral zone and dumps it down. 33 seconds left on our power play. The goalie will play it over to the far wall. Eichfeld with a nice shot. Unfortunately, the goalie did get back in time and it bounced off the glass and into the top of the net. So 25 seconds left on our penalty kill. 4:41 left in the third period. The score is still 0-0. Giesman, Moore, Knob, and Conrad on a face-off to the right of the goalie. Knob dumps it down towards the corner. Conrad will go behind the net. Conrad gets hung up along the boards. The Wildcats pass it through the neutral zone. Wildcats bring it into our defensive zone. Good job by the Mustangs to break up that play. Conrad picks up this puck along the far boards. Conrad brings it into the neutral zone before, or into the offensive zone before the Wildcats pick this off. Wildcats bring it into our defensive zone. Shot. Knob will go over to the corner to collect this. Hits it up along the boards, but the Wildcats keep it in. Conrad fighting to get to that puck. More behind the net to try to break up that play. The Wildcats have it. Send it up to the point. Shot. Saved by Winfield. Puck still laying there. We do get it back behind the net. Knob fighting for this puck. Billadou picks up this puck, brings it through the neutral zone, passes over towards Giesman. Giesman up towards the far wall. Mustangs are on a change. We are back to full strength. Downey comes in, gets it to Baker. Baker over to Billadou. Billadou with the shot. Oh, off of the post. Good pass, good shot, good look. And covered by the goalie. So that darn post. When you're a goalie, you love the post. When you're on offense, you hate the post. So 3:29 left in the third period. Score is still 0-0. We are back to full strength. Baker, Downey, Billadou, Wilson, and is that Kaufman back on D maybe? Yeah, Kaufman's back on D. So the Wildcats bring this through. Nice poke check by Kaufman to get out towards the boards. Billadou fighting for this puck along with Downey. Puck bounces off the net again. That net is awful. There's no room for the players to bounce the puck off of the glass. So 3:15 left in the third period. So we have Eichfeld, Giesman, Kaufman, Lugar, and I think Wilson. So Giesman brings that in to the offensive zone. Giesman trying to center, bounces off of the Wildcats. Wildcats behind the net. Lugar coming in to try to get to that. Kaufman keeps it in, dumps it down. Lugar to the corner. The Wildcats pick this up. 2:54 left in the third period. The Wildcats hit this hard along the boards. Kaufman is there, keeps it in, dumps it back down. Goes behind the net. Giesman to try to get to this puck. Wildcats cross-ice pass into the neutral zone. Good poke check by Kaufman. Kaufman goes back to the corner. Kaufman still fighting for this puck along with Eichfeld. Kaufman and Eichfeld fighting for it. So the Wildcats keep it in on the blue line, deflected over toward the near boards. Centering pass broken up by Downey. Downey through the neutral zone. Downey around that one player. Downey around the other player. Downey with a shot, but it gets poke checked by the Wildcats. So Brooks is out on D along with Moore, Eichfeld, Billadou, and Downey. The Wildcats dump that down. They do have a player that was streaking into the corner. Moore putting some pressure. Nice block by Moore. Moore brings it out through the neutral zone. Moore with some speed. Moore dumps it back. The Wildcats are there. The Wildcats through the neutral zone, broken up by Billadou. D-to-D pass by the Wildcats, 137. The Wildcats have it over along the board. Billadou trying to get to that puck. Wildcats send it up on the boards. Baker comes away with it. Baker with a shot. Nice blocker save by that goalie, unfortunately. Downey fighting for that puck. Oh, unfortunately, the puck leaks out. Moore will go back to collect. Moore surveying, gets it up to Billadou. Billadou with a shot to the corner. Baker coming in, but the puck leaks out to the neutral zone. Brooks up to Billadou. Billadou, unfortunately, the puck leaks back over the line for offsides. So 1:04 left in the third period, still 0-0. So we're going to have Eichfeld, Kaufman, Williams, Downey, and Knob. So the Wildcats dump this high up into the air. Downey will go back to collect. Downey changes directions over towards the corner. Centering pass broken up by Eichfeld. Eichfeld gets it up, but the Wildcats keep it in. Wildcats with a shot deflected wide of the net. 43 seconds left in front of the net. Nice save by Winfield. Another save by Winfield. The puck leaks out. Oh, up to the blue line. The Wildcats do keep this in. The Wildcats centering goes behind the net. Wildcats behind the net again. Knob over towards the corner. Williams will pick this up, trying to get that puck out. Eichfeld there to try to get this puck out. It stays on the blue line, cuts it in. Knob does finally get it out. 17 seconds left. Wildcats dump it down. Knob is there. Knob gets it out towards Downey. 10 seconds left. Williams in pursuit of this puck. Eichfeld is there. Unfortunately, that's offsides. So 4 seconds left in the third period. We're still tied 0-0. We'll face off outside our offensive zone. Wilson, Brooks, Lugar, Giesman, and Bilodeau. So the face-off sitting along the dot. Giesman gets it in momentarily, and that'll be the end of the game. So that's the end of the game. I'm not sure what happens in this situation. I'm not sure if we go into overtime, if the game's just over. We'll all find out together. So neither team has gone out to the handshake line, so I'm assuming we're going to overtime. So the one rule that I read, it was a 10-minute 3-on-3. And then if there was no goal, then it went to a shootout. And it looks like there's 10 minutes up on the clock. So I'm assuming it's a 10-minute 3-on-3 overtime sudden death. But we'll find out together. Again, thank you everybody for watching. Definitely an exciting game. Good play by both teams. Hopefully we can keep up this intensity into overtime and get that overtime win. Three on three, 10 minutes, and then shootout. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Winfield's going to the net on our left. We have Downey, Eichfeld, and Brooks. Oh, so the goalies are switching. So Winfield goes to net on our right. So again, this is 3-on-3 overtime for 10 minutes, sudden death. Lots of energy. Mustangs are getting pumped up, ready to go. So Eichfeld with the faceoff goes to Downey. Downey surveying. Downey takes it back, passes it over to Brooks. Brooks surveying, gets it up towards the far wall. The Wildcats will regroup, D-to-D pass. Broken up by Eichfeld momentarily. Centering pass by the Wildcats. Wildcats bring it into the defensive zone. Wildcats pass up at the point. Eichfeld putting pressure along that puck. Shot just off the net. Ooh, Eichfeld goes down unfortunately, but does get it to Downey. Now we have 3 men. Downey brings it into the offensive zone. Downey around. Mustangs are going on a change. Downey centers it. Unfortunately, it bounces off the Wildcats. The Wildcats have some speed. Good stick lift by Downey. Downey with good back checking to get to that puck. Gets it into the corner. Brooks picks this up, sends it behind the net. Giesman will go over to collect along the boards. Giesman taking this puck, gets it to Downey. Downey slows it down around that player. Downey brings it in. Kaufman's in. Nice shot by Downey, saved by the goalie. Giesman putting pressure. So we're going to have Billadu, Giesman, and Kaufman out there now. The Wildcats have it. Billadu tries to pick that off. Eichfeld does pick that off. Eichfeld with some speed. Eichfeld with shot. Billadu with the rebound. Oh, good save by that goalie. Good job by Eichfeld and Billadu, but unfortunately good saves by the goalie, and the net was off. So 8:20 left in overtime. Billadu, Eichfeld, Kaufman on a faceoff to the right of the goalie. The Wildcats come up with it. Wildcats bring it into the neutral zone. Wildcats with some speed. Kaufman putting pressure. Centering pass. Thankfully, they couldn't connect. Centering pass again. Up towards the top of the circle. Shot wide of the net. Kaufman will try to get to this puck. Shot. Nice blocker save by Winfield. Eichfeld picks up this puck. Eichfeld into the neutral zone. Eichfeld tried to get around that player. Bounces back. Kaufman will collect and regroup. Eichfeld will go off. Downey will go on. Nice pass up towards Downey, but it was picked off by the Wildcats. Billadu putting pressure along that puck. The Wildcats come in. Shot. Nice save by Winfield. It's a good save there. 7:39. Giesman, Knob, and Downey on a face-off to Winfield's left. Giesman with the face-off. The Wildcats have it. Knob takes it behind the net. Knob over towards the wall to Giesman. Giesman into the neutral zone. Giesman with some speed. Giesman with one man to beat. Giesman dumps it down to Knob. Knob with a shot deflected just wide of the net. The Wildcats toss it behind the net. Giesman putting pressure along this puck. The Wildcats do get it out into the neutral zone. The Wildcats bring it in. Cross-ice pass. They regroup. Knob putting pressure. The Wildcats bring it in. Can't get a shot off. Good job by Knob with that defense. Stick lift up at the point. Shot saved by Winfield. Knob in the corner. The Wildcats have a centering pass. Thankfully, Downey was there to break up that stick. Downey and Giesman on a 2-on-1. Downey with a shot just wide of the net. Downey will go over along the far boards. Downey dumps it towards Giesman. Unfortunately, Downey does keep this, although that player is all over him. So they are going to get that call. So the Wildcats will be going to the box for 1:30. So that should make it a 4-on-3. So 6:37 left in the overtime. So it looks like somebody called a timeout. Each team in each game gets a 60-second timeout. So again, for penalties when it's 3-on-3, they don't take away a player, they will add a player for the Mustangs. So it'll be 4-on-3 advantage for the Mustangs for that penalty against the Wildcats. Again, this is sudden death overtime. No, yeah, so it'll go 4-4. Yeah, so it'll go 4-4 once they're done with the penalty. And then once the next whistle, it'll go back to 3-on-3. Yeah. Okay, so the Wildcats are going back to their zone. We'll have a face-off to the left of the goalie. So again, 4-on-3 advantage for that penalty for the Mustangs. So we'll be on a power play for 1:30. So we're going to have Downey, Brooks, Kaufman, and Eichfeld. So Eichfeld with the face-off. The Wildcats have it, send it behind the net. Brooks will collect. Brooks to Kaufman. Kaufman at the red line drops it for Brooks. Brooks to Kaufman. Oh, Kaufman tried to get that in, saved by the goalie. Over towards Eichfeld at the corner. Eichfeld with this puck. The Wildcats pick that off. Downey back on D, but it's a 2-on-1. Shot, nice blocker save by Winfield. The Wildcats keep that in. Eichfeld does come up with it. Eichfeld into the offensive zone. Eichfeld around that player. Eichfeld with a shot saved by the goalie. Kaufman tries to get to that puck. Kaufman, a little bit too hard off of Downey's stick. No icing. Downey will go back. We have 43 seconds left on our power play. Downey picks this up, brings it through the neutral zone. Downey brings it around. Downey with the backhand shot right in the middle. Shot by Kaufman. Yes! The Mustangs with the overtime goal. I believe that was a backhanded shot by Downey, and then Kaufman got the goal in. Great job, Mustangs, on that 4-on-3 power play goal in overtime against the North Pittsburgh Wildcats. Thank you, everybody, for watching that very exciting game. So great job by the Mustangs to come out with a win. If I read the rules correctly, I think we get 2 points for an overtime win. I think it's 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime win, 1 point for an overtime loss, and 0 points for a regular loss if they're following the rules that I read online, but it does look like they have been following them so far. But we'll see once they start to put the points up on the standings. Again, thank you everybody for watching us. We'll play again tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. against the Erie Junior Otters. I'll be broadcasting again. And everybody have a great rest of your night. Hopefully you can sleep after this one.